Google's Anti-Gravity is a game-changing AI coding tool if you use it the right way. People are using it like a chatbot, but I found a system that builds way better apps 10 times as quickly. And in this video, I'm going to show you the hidden features of Anti-Gravity so you can build faster. I'm going to show you how to build AI apps so you can build anything and make them better quality than your competitors, even if you've never coded before. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Jack Roberts. I built and sold my last tech startup with over 60,000 customers, and now I run a 7-figure AI automation business. So if you haven't already, grab that coffee and let's dive straight in. Anti-Gravity is huge. It's Google's new coding app. If you think about it like this, Microsoft Word is for documents, Microsoft Excel is for spreadsheets, Anti-Gravity is for building software. Now, in Anti-Gravity, you also get access to Gemini 3, which is the most powerful AI design tool on the planet. You get access to Claude 4.5 Sonnet, which is an incredible powerhouse. You get codes for this, and you also get ChatGPT models in there as well. You're also going to get access to native systems for your AI agents that are going to give you an incredible advantage. And much more that people don't know as Mr. Burns, is scheming there in the background. Now, to get ahead of 99% of people, the best way to do that is to show you all of this knowledge by building an app. So we'll build an app together so you can learn all these principles, and by the end of the video, you'll have it fully functioning. And to do that, we're going to use a 4-step framework called Flow. Before we can start Frame, we have to go and download Anti-Gravity, which you can do antigravity.google and just simply download it for macOS. And when you open Anti-Gravity, it will look a little bit something like this. And let me explain how this works. This thing on the right-hand side is where we chat to agents. The middle bit is where we see code. And on the left-hand side, you're going to see all of your files. I want you to think of this as you're working in projects. So let's open one together. You're going to come down and click on Open Folder. You are then going to create a brand new one. We're going to call this one something like, we'll call it Teddy. That's cool, okay? So you create a folder, and this is the workspace for your cool coding app, right? Then click on Simply Open. And now we have our Teddy thing here, okay, which is great. So Teddy's going to be here. The files appear on the left, and we can chat to it on the right-hand side. So within our Flow framework, the first F stands for frame. So frame is basically, we want to be specific about the problem we're solving. Albert Einstein famously said, if you give me an hour to solve a problem, I'm going to spend 55 minutes on the problem. So we're going to build today an app. Hey there, Claude. I'm going to give you an overview of an app I want to build. I want you to challenge my thinking and help me refine the problem. I want to build a bills dashboard for my home. It's going to track all my expenses. Then off the back of that, it's going to enable to give me a beautiful, gorgeous dashboard and UI, and it'll help me in my decision-making as a principal. So the idea here, guys, is that we speak with Claude on the idea of what we want to build. I like Claude because I think it's really good at this kind of back and forth. And then what we're going to do, once we've been really specific on this, is we're going to take the output from that and then head back over to Anti-Gravity. Remember, the better and more specific we can be with our initial prompt, the way better the app is going to get. And I won't miss a step out because it's the difference between a Joe app and a pro app. Now look, it's come back and it's asked us some questions here. So you basically come through and you just answer some of the follow-up questions from Claude. So once you've answered some of the questions that Claude's asked, because we've asked it to challenge our thinking to help get to a better problem, we're going to say to the bottom, we're going to say, I would like you to design for me an SOP, a maximum of 500 characters that I could give to an AI to develop this one-page app. Bam. We send it off to Claude, and then Claude will give us a prompt, and then we head straight back over to Anti-Gravity. Now, once we're back into Anti-Gravity, you can see on the right-hand side, this is where you can talk to your project. So we have planning and we have fast. We're going to go with the planning agent so it can think, which I recommend you do at the beginning. Now, this takes us very nicely onto the second L in our Flow framework, which is layout. So once you've pasted this in, we're going to get some inspiration for design. You can find many different websites from this. I've got a whole bunch here that I often reference in my community. I'm going to come and double-click into one on Dribble, where you can enter in information and get like Bill's dashboard. So just giving you a very quick TLDR overview, you can give Anti-Gravity images. I'm going to simply copy this image, and then we're going to head over to Anti-Gravity and just simply paste that in. Then we send this one off. And crucially, one of the things that we can do here, guys, on the left-hand side, under the design section of the layout section, is we can actually upload brand guidelines and images that we think are really cool. So if you find a website link's great, or maybe you've got brand guidelines, you can drop it into your files really easily. So for example, if I get brand guidelines for my text-to-speech startup, I can drop it in. What we can do now is add these brand guidelines within it. And then we can also add a file on the left-hand side, which references how it's supposed to do those rules. So what we can do is on the left-hand side, click on New File, and we can call this something like Gemini.md, which is cool, which just stands for Markdown. And then we can actually write a list of instructions about how it's supposed to design everything that we want. We can specify fonts, typography, anything that we like. And in addition to that, guys, you can also upload images and logos that you want to use by just simply uploading it onto the left-hand side field layout. That could be the logo of your brand, your clients, or whatever that you would like. To do that, you simply drag and drop it over. As you can see, I've got it here. I just drag it and bring it over. So think about the layout section as you can kind of predefine all the layout things on the left-hand side, which is very cool, and you can see it. Now, almost like tabs you get on a browser, you can see all these things here you can cross off. So what I want to do actually now, guys, is create my own brand guidelines in here because sometimes PDFs can be too large. So what we can do on the left-hand side is, you can add any file you want to. I'll just call these ones brand guidelines, which is cool. So we come down here, just type in this. And this is a great way for you to learn how to create new files that you want to, okay? We've got brand guidelines, fantastic. We click on it, and then you can just enter in all of the guideline information that you would like. Beautiful. And then we've got a logo, we've got different things. Now, I want to draw your attention to this middle bit here, okay? This is where all the tabs appear. Now, this really nicely brings us on to the third section of our flow framework, which is orchestration, where we basically build everything out. Now, here's the thing I want you to pay attention to, is that we have what are called artifacts in this, which a lot of people miss. And essentially what happens here is you can see it's given us an implementation plan for our app, a goal description, a user review, proposed changes. Now, what's really cool with anti-gravity is you can actually do annotations if you want to. So say, for example, here, we've got styling. I might want to add a comment to that. So I can click on comment on this line and say, hey, I want you to use the provided brand guidelines in the styling. Okay? Bam, I can add that comment. And basically now Gemini will take this through and do its different bits and pieces. And then I'm going to actually go ahead and proceed with this. And then we have our task list, which is a different kind of artifact. And once again, I can then add whatever I want to. So on animations and polish, I may want to add a comment and say, make sure the animations are particularly gorgeous and interactive. Okay, whatever I want to, I can add comments. And so we have this back and forth now, and that will really improve the quality of the output that you get from anti-gravity. Now, whilst this is working, I'm going to show you something that's really exceptional here. And one of the features that really makes anti-gravity stand heads and shoulders above everything else. So you can see now, we've got the ability here to proceed, and it's asking for our approval, which we grant it, and we can close these down at any time we want to. So what I want you to do now is you see up here, guys, you've got Open Agent Manager. If I click on that, okay, path doesn't exist, that's absolutely fine. What you're going to see now, this is a really cool thing. Think of this like you have hundreds and hundreds of agents. Now, on the left-hand side, we have all of the different projects that we're working on. So Thumbs is a project I was working on. Anti-Gravity was a project I was working on. You can see them all here on the left-hand side. And what you can do with this is create multiple agents that do different things in your project at the exact same time. And the way that you do that is you hover over the workspace and you click on plus, and this will actually be a brand new agent within Teddy. So I might have an agent now, but I want to research what the best practices are. Hey, I want you to do some deep research on the best practices for bill management. What are the kind of core 5 metrics that you need to know? Find that out for me. Okay, whatever it is, right? I can send this one off to send this guy fit. I can add another agent that does something different, like what are the most successful platforms that sell bill management software? What are they and what features do they all have in common? I want to know the 20% of features that get the vast majority of the results. Bam. So now we're firing off multiple agents that are going to do different research. They can all come and create documents. When you're finished, I want you to create a document called research.md or competitors.md and save it in the project files. Awesome. Again, and what's going to happen now, these 3 agents, as you can see on the left-hand side, guys, are all running off in parallel. And you can see the agents doing search on the web, which is amazing. And you can track all of this stuff. So you're going to have 2 windows in anti-gravity. You've got your agent dashboard view, which has all of your AI agents. And then we've got the other view, okay, if I come back to editor, which is the basic agent thing that we're using here, which is really, really cool. And you can switch between the 2 by clicking Open Agent Manager. There are also 2 different tabs. So if you have multiple screens, I recommend that you do that. You'll do really, really well with that. And guys, we're just scratching the surface on this tutorial because there's so much cool stuff on this. Now let's check this out. So we've got this stuff happening over here. I'm going to come back over to the Agent Manager. Now check this out. So you can see this inbox thing, guys. This is where all of your agents that are running forth and doing incredible things for you, think of it like a universal inbox. So the idea here is that when the agents want help with something, they will literally come and say, hey, can you come and sort this out? Now, what's happening here is that the model is opening up a Google Chrome window, which you want to set as your default browser for this, to actually test it. So this blue thing here, and this is one of the coolest things about anti-gravity, is it can test it dynamically in a web browser. So when we build our apps and things, it can open up, it can click on forms, it can try the UI. It's really good at what we call self-fixing, self-healing its own workflows. So it does this for you autonomously, and you don't need to do anything about it. How amazing is that? You can do that in other platforms like Cursor, but fundamentally, this is what makes this so cool. So as you can see, this one's finished, so you can open this up and take a look, and you can see all the stuff that it's done, which is amazing. So you'll get all of the overviews here. You can just open it when it's done. If I want to check out the personal finance dashboard prototype, that's all complete. We can manage everything from our inbox. Now, let's head back over to the editor for a moment. So we're here, and it's asking us to accept our changes, which we'll proceed with, which is absolutely fine. And again, it's working through the personal finance dashboard task list. It's going through everything. We've got the walkthrough. So it's asking us, basically, it's just saying, hey, look, here are the interactive features. Here's everything that I want to do. And if we don't like it, there's the second thing you do in annotations, guys, is I can review this. And let's say that actually what I want underneath this, so I can just do this, and I can say, hey, above this, I would like a graph that's connected like a kind of stocks share that shows month-on-month of performance, and I want one as well for my assets and total savings, so I can see exactly how my investments are growing over time. And underneath, I'd like a drop-down view with logos for my subscriptions. Would be perfect. Okay, beautiful. And we add the comment. And now we have this back and forth. You can close down these quite simply to do everything that you want to. So as you can see now, you're reviewing all this stuff. You can approve things. It's a really great collaborative way to fix things as you kind of go back and forth with it, which is really freaking awesome. So now we've done that. We close down this task. We can close down the competitors.md. We've got the index, which is great. And all of these things are happening for us in the background, which is ace. So we come back over now to Open Agent Manager, which is cool. And we are going to bring this one over and head over to our inbox, which is ace. So once it's designed the app, guys, I like to ask it to open up in the local host. Hey there, dude, I'd like it to open this up for me in the local host. And for the logo, I'd like you to use the logo provided to you on the left-hand side in the files. Awesome. So then we basically go back and forth with anti-gravity to get to do things. So again, we now have multiple agents. A little tip on that, by the way, is think of your agents like employees, which is exactly what they are. We can have 10, 20, 30 of these all running in parallel across multiple projects simultaneously, and all you do is manage that inbox to make sure they're all doing the same things. One thing I have to show as well on the Agent Manager, guys, is you have this playground where you can kind of think of this as your notepad, right? Your big, beautiful notepad. You can play notes on it. Just use it as a bit of a test environment to build different things, and then when you want to actually go ahead and put something in the workspace, you can open it up in there. But in this, I can effectively manage all of my projects simultaneously with the anti-gravity, which is its biggest and one of the most impressive features out there. And you see, guys, if we come back over here now, you can see in our inbox, it's now asking us for approval. So do you want us to do this? We just simply say yes. So in practice, you just sit there, you manage it, and you approve different things. So let's come back over and open the editor and have a look at everything that it's doing, and it's now working for us in the background. Now, I want to bring you very nicely into another feature within anti-gravity that not a lot of people actually know about. So let me show what this is. So you can see here, if you click on these dots, you can see a couple of things. You're going to see MCP servers, and you're going to see customizations. And we need to talk about MCP servers. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol, and it's basically just a unified language that a lot of apps have agreed to talk in so that apps and AI can effortlessly communicate with one another. So the idea here is that we can connect anti-gravity to Airtable, to Vercel, to GitHub, to lots of different platforms and apps using this universal language without having to worry or faff around a million different variables. Let me show you what I mean. So if you click on MCP servers, what is really cool is you have this full list of MCP servers in anti-gravity. That means that once you connect it to anti-gravity, you can use this in all of your projects. It is so freaking cool. They've got PayPal, they've got Pinecone, they've got everything. So within this MCP store, you can obviously grab anything that you want to. But let's say that we want to do GitHub. So I've already installed GitHub, but I'm going to remove it just to show what the process looks like. If you click on Manage MCP Servers, you can see I've got 3 here. Context 7, which is one I recommend that everybody adds, because Context 7 is basically the latest documentation of how you connect to anything. It's very, very cool. And then we've got GitHub, and then we've got Supabase. So what I'm going to do is come into GitHub, and I'm going to physically remove it. Now, when you select that one, it'll ask you for a token, which you can head over to GitHub and physically grab that token. Now, one of the reasons we want to add GitHub, guys, is because this will enable us to actually deploy the project later when we're finished. But if you come over to your github.com, it's free to create an account, and GitHub is just a place where we're going to publish our apps. It's going to store all of the files, and then we can basically host it here. So the idea is, on the right-hand side, if you come over then to settings, once you create an account, on down bottom left-hand side, you're going to see developer settings. Cool. And then you're going to see OAuth apps, personal access tokens, and then click on fine-grained tokens, because they are fine as hell. As you can see, here's one that I created earlier, which is cool. And then click on generate new token, and then obviously enter in your password. Again, and this just connects this to anti-gravity for us. We give it a name like test 1, 2, 3, but obviously this is to be used in Gemini. Cool. Come down, and then what you're going to do, guys, is add in permissions. So whether I personally like to do this is I like to add in all of the permissions down here, and then I restrict them in Gemini itself. So only add the ones that you think it's going to need, but once you've done that, you're going to get a full code, and then when you come back over here, you just simply enter in that code and then save it. And then you're going to add in all of your apps, and they will appear for you on the left-hand side. Now, as you can see, it's saying that it wants no more than 50 tools enabled. The reason for that is because it requires context windows. So what you would do is you'd come down and remove the things that you don't think it needs. I typically use about 21 that I activate, but just go through the list for everything you have, for Supabase, for Context 7, for any app, and restrict those access to try and keep your tool count as low as possible. So that's awesome, but if you want to add an MCP that doesn't exist, you're going to click on this View Raw Config. And here, guys, you'll see the raw configuration for your MCP. So Context 7, for example, is one that doesn't exist within the MCP store. And if you want a very simple way to do this, you can just copy all of this like so, and then head back over to your language model of choice, could be Claude, could be anybody, and just ask it to add in for you your MCP, and then paste it back into this MCP_config, which is just the global marketplace of where all of those things live, basically. And once you've done that, you'll see that your managed MCPs will appear automatically for you on the left-hand side that you can enable and disenable as you like. For example, if I want to add the N8N MCP, I'm on a n8n.cloud settings personal. On the left-hand side, I click on MCP access. And as you can see, what we're going to do here is click on the access token, and I'm going to refresh this one right here. And then this is the MCP line that we need to add into our files. All we do is we simply copy this like so, come down here and click copy. And when we're back in anti-gravity, click on View Raw Config. And then, guys, at the bottom, we just simply add in the N8N MCP. And if you're not confident of how to add that in, you can just copy the code, chat to your language model, and ask it to add it in. Then when that's done, we come up here, we click File, and we just simply click on Save. And then we can shut this down, like so. Now, if I refresh this, if it's worked properly, we should see N8N on the left-hand side. So give us a hot second, and N8N will appear as our new MCP server, which basically now means that our projects and apps can trigger N8N, which is insane. And would you believe it, guys? The N8N MCP has appeared automatically, and you can obviously within here have that grain level access to activate and deactivate whatever we'd like. Now, the other thing that we can do here as well, if we wish, is you see down here, you got this thing here, click on customizations. These are kind of like called project notes. So you have rules and you have workflows, and you can make these global, or you can make them basically for the workspace. So as you can see as well in the background now, it is making some changes to the app, and it's looking quite good, to be fair. I really like the look of this. We need to obviously get a bit of a dark mode for the logo, but you kind of get the idea of it. So within anti-gravity, you can add in workflows. I've got one here which is for debugging, which is very cool. And effectively what that means is you can then add like system level instructions to it whenever you want to. So for example, this is one from a Claude repo, which is a very, very simple way of how to debug stuff. I'll put it all down below so you can just literally copy it. To do that, all you do is click on workspace. You can give it one like, I don't know, let's call it lemon. For the argument's sake, lemon debugging. Obviously, we need to have it all together, no spaces. Beautiful. Click on enter with that and just say, use this to find lemons. Okay, and then enter in all the information that Jack gives you in the description. Okay, beautiful. Then when that's done, guys, we just simply come up, we're going to file, we are going to click on save, which is ace. And as you can see, we've got it down here, right? Now, what's really cool is if you ever want to use that specific thing, what we can do when we're chatting to the models, and then when you come back in the chat window, guys, you can literally come here and just type in lemon debugging or debugging, whatever it is, and just say, figure out the issues. So that's how we can give it these instructions to call upon universally across all of our systems. So if we have like a great way of debugging everything, we can physically just call upon it all the time and not have to have Gemini to do all the heavy lifting for us. And the reason why this works, by the way, is because that repo that covers all that stuff, which again, I'll pull up for you right now, and I'm pulling it back up because it's good to just to see the button clicks where everything goes. The reason why this is so cool is because they've identified what the biggest, most common issues are when debugging this stuff. So it can easily come through and figure it out and give it a very clear system to do that. So this is really cool, guys. I like the look of it. I think we just need to change the background to be dark. And wouldn't it be really cool if we could then have a conversation with a chat model within it to make it a little bit easier? Hey, this is really cool and very, very decent. Just come back over and give it that information. I'm going to say something like, hey, looks really cool. I would like you to, first of all, make the background dark. And then I'd like you to add in a chat box. And then when you've done that, I want you to create a GitHub repo with this, and I want you to publish it, call it whatever name that you want to, and I want to be able to talk to ChatGPT within the app about all of the information on the page. Okay, very, very cool, and then we hit enter on that. So we just simply spar back and forth with anti-gravity. And then this publishes the changes dynamically to GitHub, which basically means whenever we make changes here, it will reflect on GitHub, which is important, and I'll show you why in a second. One little hack I want to show you on the left-hand side as well, guys, is you have these kind of tabs. So this lets you search the code. The one underneath it's really cool. This is the source control, but the one that you might find most interesting you may not know about is this extensions thing on the left. So this is kind of like the Chrome store, the Apple Marketplace for anti-gravity, where you can effectively search for and bring in different plugins that do various different things. There's stuff where you can do semantic search. You've got Ruby LSP, which is really cool. Whenever you need something in particular, you can do this. They've got a series of recommended ones. You can have a play around with it, and I'll be including a lot more in the videos, showing all the use cases. But this is effectively where you add it in. You can obviously see how many that they've downloaded, their ratings. It's very, very cool. So let's come out and check out what this looks like in localhost. By the way, localhost just means that it's running on your laptop. In the cloud, everything you ever access is running on a computer, a CPU, somewhere in the world. When we self-host it or we run it locally, all that's meaning is that the CPU usage on your laptop is powering this thing. And when we host it ourselves, it means that we kind of own it. Now check this out. This looks cool. So we build an app that we're happy with. I think this is really cool. And by the way, it's followed the brand guidelines perfectly. That's how freaking cool it is. And then when I come over to GitHub, we can see that it's actually been published live and it is ready to go. Now, one other thing that you need to know, and it's a really cool thing here actually, is that within this, you can actually change the model that you're using. So if you come down here on the right-hand side, you get Gemini 3 Pro. If I click on that, I can choose from these models. A quick TLDR, Gemini 3 Pro, amazing at design. Anytime you're using an inbuilt feature within anti-gravity, use Gemini because the models are typically optimized for its own software. So if you're using like Claude Code, that's good at Claude-related things. Then you've got Claude Sonnet 4.5, the thinking, and the Opus 4.5. My personal experience is that Claude is better at the copy, number one, the natural language. So if you're saying, hey, write me articles, write me website copy, use Claude for that. And GPT is like, just think of that as like something where the AI couldn't possibly get it wrong. It's a lot like, this kind of basic stuff that you want to do, and you don't want to spend all your tokens, use GPT for that. But that's how I typically use it. Design, I'm using Gemini. And anything to do with Gemini or anti-gravity. And then if it's like code review, I typically tend to lean on Sonnet 4.5 for that. And that very nicely leads us on to the final step of our flow framework, which stands for world, which is taking the app that we built and publishing it so the world can actually see it. Now to do this, we're on the actual GitHub, right? But we're going to host it somewhere. There's a couple of websites you can do for this. The one that we like to use a lot on the Jack Roberts YouTube channel is Vercel. I should call out, by the way, quick FYI, if you want to learn a lot more about anti-gravity, I just released in our classroom under the AI automation section a full anti-gravity course that will go through everything step by step. If you want that extra layer of support and the community, I'll put a link down below so you can check that one out. So in Vercel, we're going to connect that to GitHub so we can see the repo. Now, if I click on it, I click on Add New, I click on Project, like so, and we're going to see the Glider Finance dashboard there. All we do is we click Import. This brings it over. The framework preset usually pre-populates. Then you click on Deploy. And essentially what this will do now is publish it onto a domain. This is the exact same system that some of the vibe coding tools like Bolt.new uses, and it's dead straightforward. Now, you triangulate this value thing now, right? Where effectively we have over here, we've got Vercel, we've got GitHub, and then we've got anti-gravity. Anti-gravity updates GitHub, and GitHub updates Vercel. So it's an instantaneous thing. It's so cool. And now we have our fully functioning app ready to use to share with people and kick some butt. Now, this will get you ahead of 99% of builders. But if you really want to actually monetize this for your business, you need to know how to turn those viewers into buyers, which you can learn by watching this video right here.